Welcome to the Mix and Mingle talk show. I'm getting better and better with this every single week. I'm so excited for y'all to be joining us today on a Thursday, 30 minutes later than normally will we be on. But thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. This is going to be a really hot show, a show that's very insightful, and I'm excited to go ahead and get it started. Well, of course, I'm going to get started with my co-host, Miss Donna Brown. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Great. I'm great. How are you? How was today?
The day was eventful.
Okay.
But good eventful. Good. Just had a lot of things to do. You know, it is the season of giving, caring, sharing, and loving. And so, I was doing good deeds.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you are able to join with us today.
Yes.
And I'm so excited to introduce our special guest.
Who is our special guest?
He is very near and dear to my heart. A very smart man. He's always been smart as long as I've known him. He has a beautiful family. I'm about to ooze a lot of positivity out right here, but we are glad to have Mr. Stephan Hite to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
I'm good.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad that you are on the Mix and Mingle talk show. And I need to let everybody know this is my handsome nephew.
You're too kind.
Yes, I love it. Nothing but success just ooze out the family. So I'm excited to have
I'm working on that.
Oh no, it's already happened. You just gotta walk.
Tell him.
What they said, two or more agree. So you got two on here.
There you go. We all three in agreement.
Yes.
I don't even know if that's a word, but it is today.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, the Mix and Mingle talk show. So I'm glad to have you on today. I always like to start the show out with National Day. Yeah. And we only have two today. Can you believe it?
My.
Normally it's like 5 high, we only have two. So today is National Maple Syrup Day. Do y'all like maple syrup?
Love maple syrup.
You like maple syrup? Well, I'm not a maple syrup fan. I like the butter pecan syrup. Sorry.
Okay. So here's
right.
You like it with the corn syrup? Because that's what the other stuff is made with.
Oh, no. I don't like the corn syrup. That's really syrup. Sweet.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm maple syrup all day long.
Me too. Now, I like to put it in, of course, on the pancakes and waffles. I like to put it in my tea.
In
my tea is so good. I like making it when I make my date paste. Most beautiful thing in the world.
Milkshake too, or smoothies.
Smoothies, yes.
Yep.
And it's great for people that are diabetic.
Really?
Yes, because the glycemic index on it is not as high as it is sugar.
You're getting a little too sciencey for me, so I'm agree.
She went straight there. The water. I'm still like this.
Right.
Glycemic index, so your body is able to break down the sugar.
Okay.
Right.
So when it does that, of course, that's including with your kidneys and your liver and stuff like that. And if your body can't break it down, then that's when you tend to be like diabetic, because that's the problem is breaking down the sugars.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So, it won't hurt you.
There you go. That's all I need to hear.
Okay.
I'm about to make me some French toast later on tonight.
Do you make yours homemade? Okay. Do you use the Texas?
Now when you say homemade, how homemade are you talking about? Like homemade the bread too?
Bread, egg, wash. You don't do all that.
Oh, I mean, I buy the bread and then put it in the egg, and then throw the cinnamon on there. Okay.
Yeah. Do you use brioche? Or do you use what type of bread you use?
So I use brioche when I've just had a closing, but if not, I'm using regular wheat bread.
As a closing. You know what? Y'all are out of control.
I ain't mad at you. Well, our second National Day is the Wright Brothers Day.
Oh yeah, I did know.
I know that.
knew that. Today was the day, right? That they
Yep.
took their.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So shout out to North Carolina.
North
Yes.
Carolina.
You.
Take your shirt off.
Right. Like a helicopter.
Let's not and say we did.
Yeah, most definitely. So that is today's national days. Normally I'll be talking forever and ever and ever about national days, but we only had two, so that's wonderful. So today we're gonna dive in right into Stephan Hite, and he is the loan officer for the insurance financial company. It's a company, right?
Yep.
So how did you get started? What you just woke up one day and say, "This is what I want to be when I grow up." How did you sprinkle some?
No, so my journey here really started, gosh, I guess you can say back in college. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was just chasing my now wife around. Well, I was chasing
I
chasing her
was doing
around,
that.
chasing other ladies around, not know what I want to do after I graduated and whatnot. I followed her to Atlanta, got into real estate, and started as an investor slash agent and whatnot for a couple of years, and saw some success in that. Saw a lot of learning opportunities, I'll say, and obviously now having two kids, they were a little younger, and I had some clients. Man, they were just having me all over the city at all hours of the night. And here in Atlanta, 400 or 285,
Yes,
just anywhere from like basically 3:30 till about 7:30.
yes.
It's 2 hours
Traffic,
wherever you want to go.
traffic.
And so from where I am located, I had a client literally wanting to show houses on the complete opposite side of town, and we could only do it like after she got off of work. And so I would leave the house by like 5, 6, so I'm not putting my kids down. Wouldn't get back in the house till like 11 because of the traffic to and from still.
Ooh,
And so this happened to me like twice with two different clients though. And so with one of the clients, like I never ended up even closing with her. She was just like, you know what? I'm just not ready to buy a home. And I'm like, okay, after like 40 houses that I've shown her.
oh wow.
And then the other one, I ended up referring her out because I just couldn't do it anymore. Like we were like one instance, we were 2 days away from closing, where I'm like, hey, it's time to send in your money for the cash to close. She's like, yeah, I don't want the house anymore, and I want to keep looking. And I couldn't do it. I said, you know what? I don't think I'm the right agent for you. I got a great partner of mine I can refer you to. She ended up finding the house like 2 weeks later, which is totally fine by
Right.
me because I want her to get the house that she wanted. But I just sat and I asked my wife and I prayed a lot and I said, honey, how can I still be in real estate and like not leave the house basically?
Right.
And it was a loan officer. So I took the test, passed it on my first try. I've been doing it ever since. And I love it because I get to combine my personal finances and I get to talk to people from my home or the office when I'm in there. And I get to do it from the comfort of my own place.
Yeah. And you are very smart. So the mere fact, to me, it felt like it was a natural move from being a real estate agent to a loan officer.
Hmm.
That that was like smart for me. So
Yeah. And it's less emotional too. It's numbers.
yeah,
It's yes, no, black and white. The government says yes, the government says no. Do you fit this criteria? It's not, oh, the house doesn't feel right. The kitchen's not quite right. Room's too small. I don't do none of that.
right. And I know you are so done with that too. But the beautiful thing is because you are a loan officer, you have a lot of expertise in
Hmm.
real estate because that's what you did first. So
Hmm.
I think also when somebody actually hire you, or work with you, they actually get, like more bang for their buck, which is
Oh,
amazing.
yeah, for sure. Especially when I'm dealing with first time home buyers, especially if I'm the first contact with them,
Mhm.
I'm able to explain really the full process from a loan officer standpoint and a realtor standpoint. But I do it in a way where I don't also step on the realtor's toes, but I give them a broad enough scenario, if you will, where they kind of understand what they're getting into. And a lot of realtors appreciate that because I can kind of alleviate some pressure or some questions that first time homebuyers have for the realtor. Because a lot of first time homebuyers, they ask a million and one questions. And I don't mind answering the questions because I'm kind of a teacher at heart anyway.
Right.
But as a realtor, you in the car all day, they're a lot busier, sometimes, if you will. And so yeah, I'm able to really be the full gambit for both realtors and clients who are purchasing. So
That's a blessing. Uh,
hmm
so let me ask you this question: do you think it's important that people have the basic know-how on how to purchase a home, or like they need to do their research first, or is it important to like rely heavily on the realtor or the loan officer?
yeah, I would say definitely do your own research first, and I suggest that with anything in life, don't just trust a doctor because they're a doctor. If
Right.
you get what I'm saying, say, you know what I mean, because they just read stuff out of a book, and it's like, who knows, if that is really true too. So do your own due diligence, do your own research, and then take your questions to a professional, and then ask your questions there and get clarity, and then just use your common sense and your wisdom too. So I would definitely suggest people do their own research, but at the end of the day, when it comes to loans, it's very, very heavily regulated, especially after the downturn that started really in about 05, 06. Then we really felt it in 08 and whatever, if y'all remember that time. So yeah, but definitely do your own research and then speak to a professional as fast as you can. Do not try to do anything on your own. I would not suggest that.
So do you do business loans too, or just home
No, I'm
loans?
strictly residential home loans at the moment.
Right.
So, but as far as finding a commercial lender, that's not hard to find at all.
Okay.
So,
Do you can you like help people get prepared to purchase their home? You know,
yeah. So,
your steps of doing that.
okay. So, steps in regards to purchasing your home. First off, you want to make sure your credit is in order. I saw that face.
That's first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I always tell people, make sure your credit is in order. Make sure you have a clean credit profile if you can.
Wait, before you go any further, Stephen, what determines? Let our listening audience know what you consider a clean credit file.
Right. Okay. So if you can get rid of collections that are on there, whether especially if they're paid collections, get those deleted if you can, and late payments per se. Um, if you can find a great credit repair specialist that's reputable and that has a proven track record, I would say is well worth the money, especially if it's reasonable. But there's a company out there who I've had several clients go to, and I mean, it's like going on 2 years, and they haven't seen any progress, and they've paid like $2,000, and I'm like, why are you still paying this
What?
company? And there's no improvement. Yeah, and it's
So
a big
you
national
can't tell me
brand
what
that
it
y'all
is.
see commercials for. I'll tell y'all about it offline. Though I don't want to slander anybody online, but
You need to tell our people so our people so know.
I know I'll do a post, and then I'll shoot it to Didi and she can share it, and then y'all know. But I just don't feel right saying it. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know.
It's okay.
but yeah, credit first. You definitely, the higher the credit score, the better. And here's, I'm gonna break it down as to why, right? Because technically with the FHA loan, especially during normal times, you can get approved with a 580 credit score, right?
Right.
But you'll probably get 8 alive in your
Interest.
interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
And with FHA, your standard mortgage insurance is going to be 85%. I'm sorry, 0.85% of your purchase price. Now flip that over to conventional, right? Right now you can get approved with a 620. Um, your interest rate is going to be way higher because it's not a government backed loan, and your mortgage insurance is going to be a way higher percentage versus if you're more patient and get your score up to where you'll have a lower interest rate and your lower mortgage insurance will your mortgage insurance will be lower. And so I literally did a scenario like this the other day where this person was paying like $200 more mortgage insurance, and it just affects your debt to income ratio, which also lowers your buying power and things like that. So first I'll start with credit and also have some savings in that account. I know there's down payment assistance programs and things of that nature, and I would never tell anybody to turn away from $10,000, $15,000 down, or however much they're being offered. But at the same time, I do think there's some personal responsibility and accountability that has to happen too. Like people think they can just buy a house for $2.
Right.
And I'm like, that is so not the case. There's so many fees that and closing attorney fees and things of that nature and escrows and prepays that people don't know about that they need to account for in their cash to close. And then two, once you're in the home, you know, you have your utilities, and if something goes wrong, you can't call the apartment person to come fix the sink.
Right.
It's all on you and YouTube, and you better become real handy.
Yep.
And I learned that lesson the hard way. Like me, I should have been a handyman. I love it now, but YouTube University, I can drywall now. I
Yes.
can caulk, spackle.
You
About
gotta
to
do
learn how
it.
to tile.
You gotta do it.
Yes. So
Yeah,
can
you
you
gotta
talk
learn.
about escrow? Because a lot of people don't understand that, and it's kind of
Hmm.
like one of those things that you see but you don't know.
Right. So explaining escrow, is that the question?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. So cool. So when you close, when you close in your escrow, an escrow account is going to be set up by the closing attorney and the lender to where your taxes, your home taxes will be in that account as well as your homeowner's insurance. So every year you'll always get a bill saying, "Hey, your homeowner's insurance is due and it's $1,200." You don't have to worry about it. You've already basically budgeted for it in your mortgage payment, and
Right.
they're going to pay it for you. And same with your homeowner's taxes as well. Some people though they waive escrows and they just pay it out of their own pocket when they're due. But that's a huge risk, and I think you have to be very, very, very financially stable and disciplined to do that because not many
That's
people
right.
are going to set aside $65 a month and pay it in October or November when things are due here in Georgia.
Stephen, I got a question for you.
On.
It's
Oh,
okay.
Stephan, Steph.
Yeah,
What's your
you gotta say
name?
with your pinky up.
Okay, Stephan. Stephan, would you share with our listening audience the different types of mortgages that are out there and that are available to them?
Ooh, okay. Well, that's a lot. So
I mean,
I'll start.
the basic ones. I mean, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? The
Yeah, I
ones that,
got you. So
because you
most basic are going to be your conventional loans and your FHA loans. So FHA is obviously backed by the government. It's the most standard loan, if you will. It's very easy to qualify for. Um, it gives you, I think, it gives you a little bit more affordability, especially if you're in like that fringe credit score range, if you will,
Mhm.
because the mortgage insurance is set. Conventional loan, I think, is the better loan because the mortgage insurance is able to come off, whereas FHA, that mortgage insurance is on there for the life of the loan. So I always recommend people, and now I'm getting kind of nerdy, but I always recommend people if they get into the house with the FHA loan to refinance within a year or two, if
for.
they're especially if their credit scores have gone up to be able to have that ability to get rid of that mortgage insurance. Within FHA loans, there's a renovation loan in there that's a little bit more tedious to qualify for. But those are going to be your most simple, basic loans that most consumers are going to be qualifying for.
So let me ask you a question. The loan that you just spoke about, like
Conventional.
no, the
The
FHA.
FHA, mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the I guess refurbished.
203K, yeah, where you
Yeah.
can like renovate a house, yeah.
Yeah. So is that geared more towards people homes that are like historically, like sound with the city? Like, can you use that type of loan with historical
Oh,
homes?
with like a historic property, like in a property like in a historic district.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, so I believe you can. With historic properties though, you actually have to contact the city because there's so much you can do because they want to keep the character of the historic district. So
Right.
like you can't go to like, I'll use an example here. There's a couple of historic districts in Atlanta, and it's like homes built in 1920s and things of that nature. So you can't go and pop up a big modern house in there because the city wants to maintain that character and the values and things like that. So
Do you?
They want to maintain the authenticity of
exactly.
of the house.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
historical, yeah, aspect of it.
Hmm. I
And
think that's great personally in that sense.
yeah, yeah.
So let me ask you another question. Do you suggest people And this is like a two-way question
Mm-hmm.
for new home owners and people that already have a home want to purchase another one. Do you suggest people to buy a home that's already established or a home that is, you know, you need to
You
build?
build your own. Mm-hmm.
That's such a great question. And here's why. So with a new build, here's some pros. Obviously, no one has ever lived in it. You can make your footprint in there. It's super nice, super clean. You can get all the upgrades you want. Cons, those upgrades will cost you an arm and a leg by that builder.
Yeah.
um, they're like, if you want a different color paint, they're gonna charge you like $4 grand. It's like I just changed the paint. It's like, but anyway, that's another story. So cons of new builds, I would honestly say they aren't built the same, and they really aren't. And I purchased a new build before, and now I'm in a home that was built in 2000, and I love it way better. It's already settled, and I can just fix up what I need to fix up, and it's just a well built home. But I do suggest if you are going to buy a new build, be in the first stage of the new build process if you can. On the first phase of it, I'll say. And example is, say they're starting out in the low 200,000s, right? And when it's all said and done after your upgrades, you end up finishing at like 225. But there's 100 more houses that need to be built in the neighborhood
Mhm.
or in the development. By the time it gets to that last phase, and we'll just say phase 4, that base plan that you purchased probably is going to be starting at like, let's just say mid twos, 275. And by the time that end buyer finishes at this phase, it's probably going to be close to 300. So within about a year or two, you've got 50, 75 in equity, 75 grand in equity
Mm.
that's built in, and you haven't done a thing except just be first. And so I do suggest new builds for that matter. But when it comes to an older home, you can't buy character, in
True.
my opinion. You just
That's
can't
right.
do it.
That's right.
You can't buy character, and you can't buy that feeling of, oh man, I hate this bathroom, but I'm gonna change it myself or work to pay somebody to change it and seeing that finished product. And you just upgraded a home. So I
Yeah.
think there's something just special that you just can't buy when you purchase a older home that's in an established neighborhood. You got the neighbors that's been there 30 years.
And they're
They
gonna
know
love you
everybody.
too.
Yeah, they know everybody. Like we got a neighbor. I want to say like our first week here. She's like Aunt May or something like that. She just came some homemade biscuits. I mean homemade biscuits, homemade jam, and now she's basically like our kids' grandma, and I love it.
Right. You're absolutely right. You can't. There's no price on having character.
Mm-mm.
So
Nope.
this is the one of the questions I wanted to know because we're going into our second home and trying to figure out like we're older. So we this our first home was nobody stayed in it. We was the first person and it was the third house in this whole huge neighborhood.
I remember. Yep.
Yep. You
Yeah,
went
y'all never heard this
from
huge
dirt
too.
trying to grow grass on clay. That's crazy. But we did it. We did it. But it's amazing because now it's like we're trying to figure out do we want to go into more of an established, home or do we want to finally, have our settled home? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was very important. So the difference you're in Atlanta, Georgia right now. Is there
Mm-hmm.
a difference in the market on when to purchase a home, like during the seasons? What's the best time to do it? Or
I think on average all the seasons are pretty much the same nationally. Things slow down in the winter for obvious reasons. You got Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas. Ain't nobody trying to move or buy a house during Christmas. It's already stressful enough.
right, right.
Summertime comes along, everybody's feeling good. Kids are out of school, it's hot. Everybody just want to spend money in the summer. So in regards to that, I think it's about the same nationally, but obviously there could be some differences in just your particular pocket. So I would just say, just pay. You can easily Google or pay attention, talk to a realtor, and see what the sales are doing in your particular county or city. But for the most part, I think it's all pretty much generally the same.
So
Um,
so right
Sorry,
now, is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market?
definitely sellers.
It's a sellers. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
If it's anything like Georgia where y'all are, There's absolutely no homes on the market.
That's what
Like
it is here.
every house is getting at least like 10 offers.
Yep.
At
Wow.
least. And all 10 offers are like 10,000 over asking price too.
Yep.
Okay. So you busy right now? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, very busy, especially on refinances too, though, because the rates are so low.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a good time to purchase if you're able to, because you're getting a great interest rate.
Yep.
But it's a great time to sell. I'm sorry, on the buyer side, it sucks because there's not a lot of inventory, but it's great interest rates. Now, if
Right.
you're selling, you're gonna get a lot more money listing right now because you're gonna get in a bidding war,
Yep.
and so you're gonna get even more money than you probably expected with the equity that you currently already have in your home.
Yep.
But good luck trying to find a house.
We had a real estate agent last week at
Mhm.
the house. That's exactly what she was saying. She said the inventory, it is slam like so little. And
Yeah,
it's like you said, the sellers are having a good time if you're willing to sell, but it's just not a lot of in the inventory.
it's
So
not. I haven't been to Greensboro in way too long, so I actually this if y'all about to if y'all looking at moving and things like that, have y'all thought about just getting some land and building on it?
okay, glad you said that. Yeah, I'm really interested in doing that. But I didn't know the best route to do it. So, nephew, go ahead and like ring a ding my ears on that.
So you're probably gonna need to have a higher credit score because it's a construction to perm loan. But I mean, you can just take your equity from your current home and put it into that. My company, what we do is we ask for 20% of the cost to build down, and we lend on 80% of the value of the home too.
Okay.
So it can get a little confusing. But say the land costs like 100 grand, but your total home is going to cost like $300,000.
Right.
So what's that? 400 million. Let me see. Now I'm getting too mathy and nerdy for my own self now.
I'm loving it because this is an option that I wanted to do. And I've been looking for land and they sell
Yeah.
a lot of land being sold right by now too.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. It's and you can build the suit. So like for you in your situation, like your kids are almost out of the house. You
yes.
got a couple. Y'all about to be free. So I mean, y'all can build. You can build a nice little 3-2
Yes.
master on the main. You ain't got no stairs no more.
No, that's what I want. I said I'm not climbing any more stairs. I want my stuff downstairs. Anybody,
Yep.
we do get a 2-story. Y'all can climb. I'm not climbing no more. I'm tired.
Yeah. I'm that way right now. I can't stand stairs.
Please.
I love ranches.
Yes.
But anyway, that's what you'll be looking at. Like 20%, at least with our company, it's 20% of the cost. So as long as those numbers work out, it could be very reasonable down payment. So
So who do you speak to on that? Do you speak more to a real estate agent or do you talk more to the loan officer about
anything money wise, you're always gonna be looking at a loan officer.
it? Okay.
Real estate agents, it's out of their scope of work to even talk about money, and due to the way the laws are set up to protect everyone involved, honestly, the real estate agents just keep it strictly to the home.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
That's exactly what I wanted to do. But I was like, I just don't know the correct way of going about
Just
it.
speak with a local loan officer, and they'll walk you through it. And definitely consult several different lenders as well.
Okay. So one thing I've noticed that you tend to get a better lower interest rate when you deal with a credit union. Is that true? Because they
Um,
tend to have their own money. They're not, you know.
there's a lot that goes into that.
Okay.
So, like for instance, my company, we may not always have the lowest rates, but we're also not going to have the highest rates. But the reason that is because we have a great compensation plan
Okay.
with the way that we're set up, and we know we provide great service too. So when we say we're going to close on time, we know we're going to close on time, and you're going to get the best service. I'm always available. Call, text, email. I got you. You know what I mean? Like you're never going to have to worry about where you are on the loan.
Right.
Whereas sometimes with banks, their loan officers are paid a low salary. They getting paid no matter what. If
Right.
I don't answer the phone and you find somebody else, I just lost 3, 4, 5 grand. So I'm
Right.
picking up the phone. I'm more incentivized. So sometimes their service is a little lower, even if their rates are lower. But it really just depends on the person's credit profile. how that institution is set up in their compensation plans as well. But on average, I would say I think credit unions do probably have the most competitive rates. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that we actually been talking with a credit union to go about doing that.
Hmm.
Being a loan officer, are you just restricted to your area, or can you service different areas?
So I'm licensed in Georgia and South Carolina. I'm working to get my North Carolina license, but my branch has to get the license first, and then I have to get it. So I gotta kind of see if
Wait,
I can get around the red tape and sweet talk my bosses into getting it, because there's also an extra charge with that too that the branch have to carry. So I have
right,
to put it out there for them and show them like it's going to be an asset to the branch if we get it, and that I can do business there.
right,
So.
and tell them it's like a straight shot. Like people can move down. If I decide I want to go to Georgia, I can still deal with you.
Hmm.
Or if I decide I want to stay where I'm at, I can still deal with you. It's
I
straight.
know. I know. I know.
Just say 85. That's all you need to tell them.
I
And they're like,
will.
yes, I like that.
I will.
So what if you have somebody like yourself that started out as a real estate, agent, and they say, you know what, I'm over this, I'm done, and they decided they want to go into becoming a loan officer. What are the steps to become a loan officer?
So you're gonna have to take the class. I believe it's called the Safe class. I want to say it's, gosh, how many hours? I forgot now. Shame on me.
That's
But it's not a lot of hours. It's like 21 hours or something like that. I
okay.
think I did mine in like 8 days. Took a week to study. I passed the test, paid the fees, got sponsored by my company and things like that. And then I just had to wait on the state to review my background, because you got to do all the fingerprints and stuff like that. They got to make sure you're not a criminal, X, Y, and Z. So,
You're a thief.
uh, right. Make sure I ain't gonna walk off with the funds,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's literally it's just about the same as becoming a real estate agent. It's just a different type of test. That's all.
Well, I did notice when I talked to Abby last week, she was
Hmm.
talking about it. She suggested it'd be great to save up money for your test, because the test is a certain amount of money. How much is the
Mm.
test? How much you need to, because you was able to be sponsored by your company. Some people may not have that privilege to have that. So,
Mm.
about how much money you think they need to save up to, go into this profession?
I would say for this one, I think my test was 229, but it varies on how you want to take the test. I took mine in like a accelerated online course, so I didn't have like an extra in-person fee for a teacher. 229. Then I think I paid like maybe another 150 bucks for my license and the test itself. So
So when
about, I would say it's about 500 bucks just to be
okay,
safe, depending on what class you take.
okay. I think that's good to know because a lot of people, what I'm noticing, an influx of people wanting to become real estate agents.
Oh gosh.
A lot of them are going to bigger companies, and
Yeah.
what's your
I,
spin on that?
I think for a real estate agent, what's up? I think for a real estate agent, they need to save probably close to around, I would say like 1,000, 1,500 between class, license, and the licenses as well. And then another 1,000 if they can, just to have for immediate realtor expenses. And then if you're blessed, you need to have at least another 6,000 lined up, because you're gonna be broke for a while unless you get some really quick deals and you're good with your money. Because a lot of people, they get into these industries as a loan officer or a realtor, and they've been watching too much HGTV or $1 million listing and think they're about to get a $40,000 deal every time, and that's just not the case. And it's just really hard. It's you and like a lot of folks, we go from a W-2 job where we're paid no matter what for just sitting there, whether we're good at the job or bad at it. You still gonna get a paycheck every 2 weeks, where it's literally this shows you get in what you put out. And if
Right.
you haven't been working the past 3 months, the next 3 to 6 months are gonna be very difficult for you, because you haven't been picking up the phone, calling, you haven't been door knocking, you haven't been doing open houses or whatever the case may be. And it shows really, really quickly.
Especially if you don't have the personality, because I'm noticing some people. I'm no shade. But if you are not good at conversating with people, conversing,
Yeah, there you
like
go.
it's hard, And right about now, because I see a lot of people, like I said, doing an influx of wanting to be a real estate agent.
Mm.
Like you have to do something different than what everybody else is doing. It's like you got
Yeah,
to almost think out the box now.
that's funny you mentioned that because my boss is a like straight collar, white collar Alabama graduate. And for like the first 2 months, I couldn't tell if he was telling a joke, if he liked me or what. But he's so good at his job and does it so well and makes a ton of money. But he's super straightforward. But he does enough small talk to know that to let you know he's not like a complete like nerdy computer type,
Right.
never not socialized or whatever.
Yep.
But people love it because he's straightforward and you know you're gonna get the best service and he's going to close your loan on time, if not earlier, because he's just that good and that knowledgeable. But that reads out in his conversation and his explanation of the loan that you're getting. So I think if you're going to not have that personality, you better be really, really good and know exactly what you're talking about.
Agreed. Would you say it's safe to say that, as especially starting out, or either just being a little seasoned, to have some money stashed away, like you said, because it's going to be times that, like right now, it's a seller's market, but you're
Hmm.
inventory, you know.
Yeah, so as a realtor and as a loan officer, especially in the winter months, it's when typically statistically it slows down. So you always want to have money saved away for that. And in any industry that you where you work strictly commission, you just never know when you're gonna have an off month. And one off month can make or break somebody.
Right.
And so
That's
you always want to have, at least a month or two saved if you can.
Right.
So because nobody wants to live off credit cards every other month.
Yeah. Jasmine Powell said yes. She's a loan officer, so she
Awesome.
definitely agree exactly what you're saying, and she works for the a bigger company here, so she totally agrees. And
Awesome.
do you think it's important to help when you have somebody sitting in your office or talking on the phone
Hmm.
and they like, hey, I want to get a loan? Do you give them like different things? You look at their credit and you say, "Hey, get rid of this, do that." Do you do that? Because a lot of loan officers may not, or they feel like they don't have to do that. Do you think that's important for a loan officer to do to help somebody, especially when they like on the brink to really get to what they need to get to?
Yes, that's one reason why I actually got into this industry. For one, if I'll be candid, there's not many people that look like us on this side of the industry, and I
Yeah,
wanted to change that. And as a realtor, granted, if you can do the job, I don't care whether you blue, black, purple, or white. If you do the job, great. I'm gonna throw you to business or whatever. But it just speaks. It just like I hate that I have to think this way or feel this way sometimes. But it is what it is. Like you just always kind of have to wonder if you're gonna get the best service
right,
from somebody on the other end that doesn't quite look like you.
right,
And so, anywho, with that being said, there's a lot of loan officers, especially if they're successful and they're busy. And if you don't meet that requirement straight out, they just next and throw you
yeah,
on the email list and whenever you're ready. But I do think it speaks volumes to take that extra 5 to 10 minutes to go into the system that I particularly have. It's called a credit simulator. You can go and play with the credit profile and say if you remove this collection, if you pay this debt down, or add a credit card, your score can jump up 50 points in 2 months. And
right.
then you just shoot that over to the client. I think that speaks volumes. And I think I would hope a lot of loan officers do that because it's still money down the road that they're going to get.
Yep.
And it's just an added level of service and it gives somebody a game plan and a blueprint. And it makes it that much sweeter when they get to the closing table, especially if they're a first time home buyer.
Right. And to have that connection, helping
Hmm.
community. And that's exactly what you're doing. Because
Hmm.
they build that confidence with you. They feel like they can be confident in every, different areas in their life too. And they can tell other people about you too. And so
Exactly.
more money comes in too. And I know Jasmine do the same thing. She looks out for, the best betterment for the clients. And she just said, that's right. Education is key. Explain what's going on, especially to our culture.
Hmm.
So true. And knowledge is power. And
Yeah.
even if they're not there, you can give them some type of template to work on,
Hmm.
you know.
And
I think that
Sorry.
a lot of our culture are not aware. They are not educated. They don't take the time to educate themselves. You have to really do the research, and that's why you guys are so important.
Yep,
Stefan,
yep.
and Jasmine, you guys are so important because so many of our people want to own their homes. They want to
Hmm.
own their homes. The Bible says, "Oh, no man." You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, own, get all the land you can get. It's there. It's for you. However,
Hmm.
they're not quite sure what steps to take. They're not quite sure who to talk to. Um, and unfortunately, with things the way they are now, it's going to get even harder. You understand what I'm saying? Their desire, yes, the African American community, right. Yes,
Yeah,
all of
I agree.
you saying that fear factor is there, and they don't like to discuss their finances. They don't, they're afraid. However, it takes people like you, Stefan, seriously, to make us knowledgeable and make us aware, and then tell us the perks that's out there that could benefit us.
Right.
Just by being a minority. But I'm just saying. I
Yeah,
know. I know that there are special assistance programs out there for everybody. Um, it doesn't. Yes, it matters what your credit score is. However,
right.
there's criterias for and programs for people with poor credit and with great credit. At both ends of the spectrum. And so it's very important that you guys, you play a key role right now, in giving them the reassurance, that yeah, you too can own your own home. Here's how you do it.
For
ABC.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And I think what I would like to tell my clients, especially the young ones fresh out of college, when you fresh out of college, you know you deserve a new car, a new house. And it's like, well, actually you don't. You know what I mean? And so I think this financial education, it really starts way before we even get to this point. So for me, for example, right? And I'm sure this is a lot of people's story. We graduated high school, everybody go to college, go to college. Well, we got student loans when we leave, right? And then most people don't know though, those student loans, if you come in to get an FHA loan, I have to take 1% of your student loan.
Yep.
I talked to a lady today. Oh God, I felt so bad. She has $200,000 worth of student loans. I have to
Jeez.
take one. I have to take 1% of that to put as a debt in her debt to income ratio that
Wow.
she technically pays once a month. And even if she's not paying on it, so
That's
that's 2 grand already. And like she made less than $1,000 a month.
My
There's no
Lord.
way. There's no way. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
what I try to tell people now is, if you can go to school without getting in debt by the time you graduate, you are already 10 steps ahead. If that means community college first or learning a trade, do it. And there's no rush. Like, I hate the fact that people like rush us out of high school to college. Like, there's no timetable on when you get that degree. And I wish I would have known that. 'Cause,
right.
like, I literally just figured out what I wanted to do like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
Right.
But it cost me 40 grand to just play. I basically paid 40 grand to play around in college of what I could have did for free.
Right.
And I also tell people, do not buy a new car before you get a home.
That's right.
And especially our people, like, we've got to have a Mercedes for whatever reason. We got to have the fancy car. And like, I'm looking at people's credit. I'm like, wait, you paying like $500, $600 for your car. And so I ask them, I say, hey, do you want to sell your car to get into this house, or do
And
you want to live in your car?
right.
They're like, oh, I can't sell my baby. That's my baby. Well, your baby is keeping you from getting a house. Get the
Fact.
house, get the car after you get the house, if that's what you want to
See,
do.
that's another thing that we fail at is prioritizing. You
Right.
understand? You got to decide what your priority is. And unfortunately, the millennial generation, their priority is the car.
I don't know if it's just millennials. I can't lie. I talk to a lot of 35s and up,
We're bad too.
and they don't want to let the Jag go.
Right.
But I hear the younger folks 30 below like myself, they buying cash cars.
Right.
and not having that car payment. And because like we fail to realize the beauty in buying assets, right? Stuff that appreciates. I tell people all the time, there's no point in buying a car because it depreciates. I don't care how pretty it is. It depreciates. It's gonna cost you money every month, gas, tires, insurance, all that stuff. Even if you live in your home, technically the house is a liability because it's not paying you anything. You're paying it, right?
Right.
Technically. But it's still appreciating at the end of the day. When you go to sale, you're paying for it monthly, all that good stuff, building equity. And so I think we have a huge problem with just, for whatever reason, we love depreciating assets. I'm sorry, depreciating liabilities like a car. Like it's the dumbest, honestly, it's the dumbest decision you can do.
Agreed.
I
We don't
paid,
do
I
that.
paid and finance something that loses legit like 20% of value after you drop it off the lot.
Yeah, literally.
who,
Literally.
who in their right mind would do that? Like
If you go,
I'm on,
if you
I'm
bought,
on my debt free journey right now.
uh-huh.
I just bought a $300 Toyota Camry with 300,000 miles on it. But before that, I had a Honda Odyssey that like, it was so crazy. We went to North Carolina one time, and my wife's father was a car mechanic, and it was a sputter in the engine. He checks it out. It's like, I can't even feel safe putting y'all back in there. So I was like, well, how are we gonna get home? We need a new car. Finance this car. It's like 300 something bucks a month. It just didn't sit right in my soul. We gotta get rid of this car. So I sold the car back and actually got way more for it down here. So I probably pocketed like 500 bucks, sold it back to a dealership. Then I went and bought a $3,000 2006 Honda Odyssey for cash.
Right.
And then I got this one as a second car, but I got no car payment, and now I can save 300 bucks a month to put towards my other debts.
Right. To get out.
But we don't want to sacrifice that because we need a new car now.
Right. And Demetrius said, "Hey, you know, Demetrius."
Hey.
And then Valerie said she just had a talk with her grand today. This is confirmation. I would definitely have her listen to this. Wow. And the beautiful thing is you can listen to this again on Facebook and also on YouTube. But
Awesome.
also, if y'all have any questions or concerns or anything, down at the bottom, I have his information. You can just, send him an email.
DM, email.
Yeah, on IG, Instagram. That's what that is.
Yep.
And, feel free to write down his information. So yeah, it's just amazing.
Stephan, what part of Atlanta are you in?
I'm in Kennesaw, so it's
Okay.
about 35
Georgia.
minutes north of Atlanta. Yep.
Yeah, I know exactly where. My
Yep.
son's down there as well.
Oh, cool.
He's dipping and dabbling in he has 2 Airbnbs.
Oh, cool. What's his name?
Yeah. Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Jonathan Hurd.
Okay, I'll have to connect with him.
Yes, I want you to connect with him because you could possibly. He just mentioned to me about. He says, "Mom, I think I'm going to purchase another house," and so yeah,
Cool.
Yeah,
he's great. Stephan is quick, fast, and good and thorough. I would put my money on Stephan.
Hey, I'll try to be as quick as I can.
Yeah, you
on
it.
I was gonna say something.
Bring it back.
I was gonna say, here's what I was gonna say. Like like this is America in general. We want everything so fast, and I call it like that microwave success, and we want the look, especially for Instagram. Everybody flexing on Instagram.
That part.
But I just want to see all these people in 30, 40 years. Because like I can easily go to Miami tomorrow if I wanted to, but I could take the $3,000 I'm gonna spend going to Miami. I'll put in an IRA and let it contribute and let it build a 10% year over year and have a great retirement. I don't think we're thinking about our retirement the way we should.
Right.
And it just never fails. I think it's like 95% of wealth all starts with real estate.
Right.
So.
Right.
And you know what I hear a lot of people saying now in this younger generation, they talk about, oh well, I'll be able to I can live off my Social Security. Honey, by the time you
already
Social Security. And when I tell them that,
it's
they're
already
like,
gone.
what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I said, okay, guess what? You know who in office right now. You know what we've been dealing with. I'm just saying.
It don't matter who in office. That money is gone. I
No.
don't care whether
Yeah.
Republican, Democrat. It's already been misused, mismanaged. But then too, it's like I don't. Why do we depend on the government?
Amen.
Because we've
Preach,
been
boy.
trained to.
Like I'm trying to tell people,
Preach.
I'm not trying to depend on the government for nothing. Why
Yeah.
would anybody depend on the government to feed their family?
Yep. We've been trained to. Just like whoever put the information out there first and then the most, that's what we believe. And so when
Mm-hmm.
you put it out there on a continuum, what happened is you don't feel the need to go and reach out and look anywhere else because you are, trained to do that. And
Right.
that's what they don't want us to do. They don't want us to go beyond the boundaries of the government, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I want to do. I want to buy up land. That's my main thing. I want to buy up land, buy up land, buy up land.
And you
That's
know
all.
what, D, you saying that, and all you really have to do, that's public knowledge. You can go right down to the city, or you can even call, and they will show you where the pockets of land is right
Yeah,
here in Greensboro,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
within the city limits and
Oh,
all.
I've been looking. Oh, believe me, I've been looking. I've
There's
been
a there's
plotting.
a great quote. A great quote I read. It was I said something along the lines of always be looking to buy more land because they can't make any more of that.
They can't. They
Yeah.
cannot. I will buy the land. I will tear down whatever is there and just have it empty. I want land.
But guess what?
Yep.
It'll be yours, baby.
Right. If I feel
Yep.
like laying out there, stretched out, talking to Jesus is mine.
There you
Well,
go.
and see, now we're knowledgeable about that. We know what to do. Think about
Hmm.
those, let's take Hilton Head Island, for instance. Hilton Head,
Oh, it's
South
beautiful.
Carolina, it
Yeah.
was owned by our people at
Right.
first. Hello, let's go there. And so, because they were not knowledgeable enough to pay their taxes on their land, Dwight and them came. You know who Dwight is? Yeah, Dwight. Yeah. Dwight and them came, and they took the land
Yeah.
because we weren't knowledgeable enough to know what to do. And yeah, Gullah Island. I mean, let's go there. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I know a little bit about some of that history, and I mean some of our land just got took because it just got took right or wrong, whether we paid taxes or not, and there's nothing we can do about that at this moment. But I do think we can learn from history and how our elders were able to create very very wealthy neighborhoods
Yep.
that were founded in home ownership. Obviously we read all the time about Martin Luther King in the neighborhood here in Atlanta. Everybody was doctor, lawyer, pharmacist, or basically but everybody had a skill that they brought to the community. And I
Right.
think that's what we need to get back to. Essentially, everybody needs to go back to the basics, get a skill, bring it back to the community, fix up the community, take pride in the community,
Right.
um, and then just go from there. But I don't think people want to work
Well, they do
nowadays.
work, but they also hide behind things. So the true intention, see, back in the day when you had that community, you couldn't really hide behind nothing,
Hmm.
except for gossip. But now you hide behind Instagram. You hide behind these prestigious things, and
Hmm.
nobody want to bring their true self forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Truly,
Right.
we all need each other to make it, and make
Right.
it better and be big. You know,
Yeah.
so
Right.
And I also think a lot of our problems will be solved if literally black, white, blue, and purple, every ethnicity just took more and paid more attention to their personal finances. Personally,
Right.
I believe if everybody just worked 2 or 3 jobs, sacrificed 2 or 3 years, got debt free, saved up money, a lot of our problems will be solved. We can have more money to fix up the local neighborhood, to the rec center, or whatever the case may be, the
Right.
grocery store, start pooling money together,
right.
and where you can have grocery stores in lower income neighborhoods that are healthy. But I think it all starts in the home, but people aren't willing to take that accountability to get
Well,
rid of their debts and things like that. So,
I just stepped out on faith 4 months ago and purchased a home in a revitalized area in historical
nice.
Greensboro. Never been more proud. I mean, it's something right now as we speak. The back of the house, we're building onto the back of the house, and It's awesome. It is
It
awesome.
has great bones.
Yes, it
It
There
has
you
does.
go.
good bones.
This
Yeah,
this
it's
That's awesome.
really solid
this
bones.
this house was built in 1932. It is 88 years old.
I bet it's built so good though.
Yeah,
Listen to what I'm
bones
saying
are
to
good.
you. I'm keeping the real, that cedar wood. That's real wood back there. I'm
Oh, never
keeping
get
that
rid of that.
wood. And now I'm going to create the doors in here now will be like the barn doors, but
Yeah.
made out of the real
Hmm.
cedar wood. You
Hmm.
got to do it. You got to be creative. And we're not going to talk about how it is, you know, it's our neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's our
Hmm.
neighborhood. You understand? Valerie, I'm going to tell you, baby, let them be tears of joy. And you go ahead and purchase that land next door, honey. Don't you wait on it, honey.
Yeah.
It's waiting on you. It is waiting on you.
Yep.
Yep.
And you know she's
Live off the land.
she has a green like thumb and toes. She is a gardener, and so that'd be a great way for her
That's
to
awesome.
till that ground next door. So you
Yeah.
don't get better. She already agreed to say yes.
This is me. I'm
Call
not
me
gonna go
when the
conspiracy
college
theory,
get
but
ready. Yeah, I'll
that's
come
good
get
because
them.
we all gonna need to grow our own food soon.
Yes, that's right.
And
You're
this
right.
is the woman that you need to talk to, because let me tell you, she knows how to perk and turn over some soil to make it grow. She is
That's
really
awesome.
good. She's really good. And
Yeah, I need that contact because I do not have a green thumb whatsoever.
and she also can teach you how to go to Lowe's and get like the things that you need and not have to pay full price for it too. So Valerie is really, really, really good.
Oh yeah, okay.
Put her information in with your page, so we'll know how to follow you on your page. She puts
Yeah.
new stuff on it every single day.
Yes, please do
That's
that. That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Only thing I know how to go in Lowe's and do is spend money.
Uh, Stop it. Stop it.
Well, we are at the end of our show. Can you believe it?
We
I
was having
can.
fun.
I know. And one question before we end the show,
Hmm.
I want to ask you, Stephan, is what are your future aspirations? What do you want to be when you grow up?
Future aspirations. I would love to own some apartment complexes. I think that's a smart way to go. Personally, I don't want to own like 40 single family doors. I'd rather own one unit with 40 doors in them.
Yes.
And I would love to be able to potentially like rent some of those out to people who are on, not even rent them, but house people in them who are on hard times or whatever.
Amen.
And just help people out. And then just an apartment complex can always just stay in a family as income. So
Right. And
I
also
would love to have that set up for my kids.
would be an additive to that would be they were on like Saturdays once a month, twice a month, they can learn a new skill while they live.
Hmm. That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that
Yeah.
would be an added thing so they can know how to fish themselves,
Hmm.
you know?
That's really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're in a great place to make sure that happens and make sure that people, I think what happened is we put people in these places to help them, but we don't teach them how to help themselves to get out,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
So
Add a garden. Yeah. Add
yeah,
a garden does need to be there too. Yep.
yeah, exactly. Valerie, please put, because we only got 2 more minutes, please put your page on Facebook in the post so we can all go and follow you. And like I said, the ticker down at the bottom, you can follow Stephan at Home Loan Height on IG. And also you can his contact him with the information there at assurancemortgage.com. So yeah. Is there anything else would you like to say
Yep.
before we leave? Is
It
there
was
anything
such
else?
an honor to be on this show. I thank y'all so much. I had a blast.
I thank you for
Thank
being on.
you. And you have to join us
Yes, I would
again and
love
get.
to come back anytime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
think we should do
Anytime
at
you
the
guys
beginning.
want me on here.
Oh, I got you. I think at
Hmm?
the beginning of the year, I'm gonna have you on here, talking
Okay.
about what they need to do for the beginning of the year to get started to have a home at the end of
right,
the year. So
Okay.
right.
let's talk
That'd be
about it.
great. Okay.
Well, like we say every week,
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure for y'all to meet up with us on the Mix and Mingle Talk Show. And like we say every week, we out.
Peace.
Bye.
All right. Love y'all.
Love you too.
Love you too.
All right. Bye-bye.